Good morning and welcome to this session of the live coaching classes conducted by the Board of Studies of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Today, we are going to start a brand new topic, especially I would say it is very important from the point of view of potential future chartered accountants like you. This is the chapter in the Companies Act that deals with audit and auditors. It defines our duties, our rights and powers with regard to statutory audit of companies. So there's only one aspect of the work that we do as members of the Institute, conducting of statutory audit of companies, limited companies, which is mandated. These things are mandated by law. So that is one thing. Every company should have an AGM, right? Even an OPC need not have an AGM, but it should have accounts. And these accounts have to be audited and they have to be filed with the registrar of companies. The audited accounts need to be filed. We already saw that in accounts, right? Now, we are going to talk about audit and auditors, which is contained in Chapter 10 of the Companies Act 2013. Of course, there is an accompanying rules, which is the Companies Audit and Auditors Rules 2014, right? The topic can be understood in broad headings, and this is the way I am going to cover it, though in the Institute study material, the Board of Studies material, might be in the section order. It will be in the section order. Here I am dealing it in logical order, which is first we have to talk about appointment of auditors. Okay, first we are going to talk about this is the order in which the sections are there. I am going to talk about it. First, we have to talk about qualification and disqualification. See, this is how my guru always used to teach. First, you should know what are the qualifications and disqualifications. Then we have to talk about actual appointment. Once we come to appointment, we have the first auditor. That's a special category. Just like the first annual general meeting was a special provision, an exception to the general rule, the first auditor's appointment is also an exception to the general rule. Thereafter, every year or every 5 years, as you will see, the subsequent auditor will be appointed or the same auditor may be reappointed, etc., etc., etc. That would be covered. Then we will have to get into removal, resignation. So many methods in which the auditor can vacate his office, right? Resignation, removal again by the board, by the central government, so on and so forth. And we already saw special notice when we discussed management and administration. We discussed special notice, and we saw that there are only 2 sections, 4 situations when special notice is required. So again, you are going to see one more. The first situation when special notice is required. The other situation where special notice is required, that is notice given by the members to the company, you will come across only in your final syllabus. I hope you will remember there. Don't worry, if I am teaching, I will again teach you special notice, remind you, and then I will teach removal of a director and appointment of a director in the place of the director so removed at that meeting. Here we are talking about removal of auditor at an AGM, for which we have to give special notice. Then, of course, we'll move on to topics like remuneration, closing with powers and duties of auditors and auditing standards. And then the last section in this chapter deals with cost audit, about which we will talk. Cost audit. That is also mandated by the Companies Act, and our brethren in the Institute of Cost Accountants of India have been given that opportunity of conducting cost audit. We'll talk about that also. So this is a general overview of this topic, right? So to begin with, qualification. As of today, and I'm being very careful here, as of today, as I'm talking to you, on the 9th of July 2022, the audit of a company can be conducted only by a chartered accountant. Means, who is a chartered accountant? A member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Okay? Right. A person, individual who is a member. Now, the Institute also permits us to form firms, partnership firms or LLPs. LLP is also a firm. It's a limited liability partnership, right? So such firms can also conduct the audit of companies and do everything that a normal chartered accountant can do, the firm can do, except that whenever the firm does something, a specific designated partner would be signing the balance sheet, or the attest function would be done by a member of the institute. I'm sure many of you who are doing your articles will be aware that every time a member of our institute signs, performing his attest function, he has to use his unique user ID password to generate a UDIN. Okay, a UDIN. And that UDIN would be quoted in that certificate, so that if at all there is any doubt as to who signed it, that would be the clinching proof that even if my signature is forged, my UDIN cannot be generated by somebody else, because that password is user ID is mine, exclusively mine, to be used by me only. Nobody can. That protecting that is the members, that is his safety. Okay. So if that UDIN is there, then that's a great protection. Today, we have this great protection so that somebody comes and says, in fact, recently I had this experience when somebody called me and they were talking about something and saying, so-and-so company, your name has been mentioned as the auditor, and all bullshit. It wasn't so at all. And then I said, sir, you are saying this. Can you quote the UDIN to me? That man was a reporter from a yellow journal, nasty newspaper in South. These people are targeting, people like me to sort of make us afraid and all. So I said, sir, you are saying I signed it, agree, whatever you say. You are a member of the press and I cannot question you. But I'm asking you only one question. Can you quote the UDIN, UDIN? What, sir, UDIN? I think the fellow did not even know that there's UDIN. He got it, then he cut the call. So because the UDIN is not there. Well, how can the UDIN be there? Because it was not generated by me. I have a register of UDIN in our office, which is maintained. Whenever I generate a UDIN, it is entered in my register in an Excel sheet. And anytime I can produce it and say, hey, look here, this UDIN was generated on such and such a time when I signed this. Okay. If that UDIN is not there, then even though my sign could be forged, that is not my just I'm giving this information to you to help you understand how technology is enabling us to protect ourselves, and that way institute should be appreciated for giving this facility to the member. Though it may seem a little bothersome when you are in a hurry, but now clients are also clear. In fact, banks and other clients want the UDIN because that is their proof, right? Okay, more about it possibly when we come to power duties of auditors and all that, rights and duties and all. Okay, suppose a firm, as of today, it is not allowed. Institute has permitted LLPs to be formed, limited liability partnerships. Chartered accountants can operate as limited liability partnerships, and such LLPs can be auditors of companies, etc. But non-chartered accountants joining a firm of chartered accountants, what we call multidisciplinary partnerships, is yet experimental. You can, of course, form an LLP and you can admit other professionals and all that. Companies, as of now, it's a blurred area. And personally, I don't see a big advantage in that. But then some people may want to do it. But whatever you do, an audit of a company can be conducted only by a partner who is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Only partners who are CAs can sign on behalf of the firm. A company secretary or a cost accountant may become a member of an LLP, but he or she cannot sign the balance sheet. That is the prerogative, right, and privilege of the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Qualifying as of today. Because the Ministry of Corporate Affairs the minister is threatening us with the possibility of another institute, etc., not for us to talk now. As of today, there is only the member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India who has gone through the grueling process of successive examinations, clearing them, going through a 3-year articleship, learning so much practically, and preparing himself or herself for the job of chartered accounting, and gone through the information technology course, and then advanced 2 levels of MCS. We also train you in, behavioral skills, So 2 levels, orientation at 2 levels, and then we send you out into the world with full confidence that you are capable of auditing companies and giving your opinion. Okay, we have seen the qualification. Now let us see the disqualification of an auditor. There are many disqualifications. Friends, from an examination perspective, this topic is important. This topic is important. So when you are preparing, you can always concentrate on topics where the questions are high. If you can prepare your own analysis, good or else, there are good analysis done by, Taxman has something called Cracker. Scanner, of course, is a Sachdeva thing. In those days, in 1980s, 86, 87, there was no Cracker, there was no scanner. We used to buy the suggested answers of the institute, and there was no practice manual also, for that matter. Nothing. The practice manual of the institute is also beautiful. It gives you an analysis of questions arranged section-wise. Whatever. Boss, you don't, okay, forget it. Institute ka practice manual. Point is simple. Whatever you get, see, the resources are there. But how are you going to use it? The best way to use it is see those areas where questions are regularly coming and study that first. Don't study in the order of topics. Study in the order of density. This is the one simple secret of preparation. Good preparation versus mediocre preparation. Mediocre preparation, start from the first topic, go to the last topic, then maybe not have time, skip some topics, then go to the exam improperly prepared. Intelligent student will prepare important topics first and then not so important topics. Maybe even if you leave, nothing is going to happen to you, or if you don't concentrate. Whereas you should concentrate. And some of the important topics are tough topics. So it is psychologically tempting for a student, which will come in the end, the fag and difficult topic, which is important, they will skip. No. You should read those topics which are important and difficult, which have density, means number of marks in the exam is high. Regularity of asking, they keep repeating the topic and they keep asking you more questions in the topic, then it is important. It is obvious. It's so simple. Okay, ignoring this simple rule and then saying, I worked hard, I studied so hard, sir, and all, I don't know how far it can be of use to you. Okay, so this is a gyan I'm giving you as a part and parcel. I know it's not connected with the exam. Some people will get angry. I'm saying useless things and all. But if it is useless or useful, you decide. Okay, whether it's useless or useful, you decide. Because this is possibly very important. Okay, having said that, this topic is important. Of that, in that topic, there are some important areas. One of which is disqualification of auditor. So concentrate on what I'm going to say. Maybe this one lecture is enough for you. Intelligent student, if they take notes quickly, as I'm telling you, if you also write it, it will get imprinted in your memory and you don't have to mug up again. Okay. So disqualification of auditor. A body corporate cannot be appointed as an auditor. Means an audit firm cannot be a limited company or a private limited company. Why? Because body corporate is an artificial person having no brain. Okay. Therefore, it cannot have an opinion. The statutory audit of a company, the product of a statutory audit, the process is vouching, verification, comparison, examination, etc., etc. But at the end of that process, the product of an audit is an opinion that the accounts reveal a true and fair view. Now, the opinion cannot be had by a body, nor can we make the directors responsible and all that, because, that's not going to work. So, from time immemorial, body corporates cannot be appointed as, in India at least. I don't know about foreign countries. Maybe other countries it is possible. I don't know. Australia, maybe I don't know. But in India, a body corporate cannot be appointed as an auditor. Exception. Note the exception. See, a limited liability partnership registered under the LLP Act is a body corporate. It is a body corporate, but it can be appointed as an auditor. It's an exception. Please note it. So, private limited company, public limited company, OPC cannot be appointed, but LLP can be appointed, though LLP is a body corporate. So, some of you may want to ask a doubt, sir, LLP is a body corporate. No, that is the exception. And that again, remember, only partners who are CA, the individual has to sign. So, when the balance sheet is signed, you will mention clearly for so-and-so LLP, Mr. So-and-so partner, membership number, your membership, the firm car registration number will be quoted, And also your registration number, your particular membership number, very important. Pride. When that number comes, you should be very proud about it. That is your unique number and identification as a member of the institute. I mean, nobody can, I don't think, I cannot forget my number 26588. 26588 is my number. Okay, like my father has the number 6304. Like that, we have numbers, and these numbers are very important, right? They are our membership number, right? So that number should be quoted. So a body corporate other than LLP. So they have even asked a question in the exam, very simple question. They said so-and-so LLP is to be appointed. A member is objecting. Is he correct? Wrong. LLP can be appointed as a auditor. An officer or employee of the company cannot be appointed, right? An officer or employee of the company cannot be appointed. Officer, we know, key managerial personnel, all the officers in default, everybody is included, director, company secretary, CFO, CEO, whole-time directors, part-time director, anybody. Okay, even non-executive directors cannot be appointed as auditor. An officer is a big term. You have studied it in the preliminary. Please go through. Employee cannot be appointed. See, think about it. One of the hallmarks of our profession is independence. We are recognized as important members of society, especially those of us who are in practice. Not necessarily all of us in practice, those in practice, even in service, but more importantly, those in practice are recognized as pillars of society, important people. Why? Because of the independence that we bring to the work. So the trust is that a chartered accountant will be impartial, dispassionate, disinterested in what he's doing, and he will, like a doctor or an advocate, we would be impartial, and we would, as professionals, we would not bring our own prejudices into the work that we do. So but then suppose Mr. A is an employee of the company, he is a chartered accountant, he is appointed as auditor, he is also reporting to the MD on a daily basis, boss. So at one stage, he is the boss, MD is the boss. So how can you argue with your own boss? I mean, there's obvious conflict, right? So they say officer or employee, no. A person who is a partner or is in employment with an officer or employee of the company. Mr. A is a partner of ABC Limited. The firm has B. B is an employee of XYZ Limited. ABC firm has A, B and C. B is a employee of XYZ Limited, right? Now, can ABC firm be appointed as auditor of XYZ Limited? No, even though the partner, okay, signing is not B, it can be A, still a person who is partner or in employment with an officer or employee, right? So A is a partner with an employee of the company. Therefore, such A cannot be appointed, nor can the firm be appointed, right? This is important. Of 141, entire 141, this is 141.3 is important. 141.3D is very important. Simple, actually very simple concept. A chartered accountant or his relative or partner should not hold any security or interest in the company. Security means shares or debentures. Any, okay. Interest could be where it's a company without share capital. You have an interest in that company. That's all. So don't get confused. Honestly, simple thing. That is not where the action is. Don't waste your brain on that. Interest means company without share capital. He will not be holding shares. It will be interest. Share, some share, interest. That's all. Understand it that way and see. So it's so small. Don't waste your time there. Chota areas, don't waste your time. Okay. So a person, the chartered accountant, the auditor or the proposed candidate for becoming auditor or his relative or partner should not be holding any security of or interest in the company or its subsidiary or of its holding or associate company or a subsidiary of such holding company. See, A Limited has two subsidiaries, B and C, B Limited and C Limited. Now, he cannot be appointed if he is holding any security in C. A Limited has one subsidiary B, another subsidiary C, co-subsidiaries, same level subsidiary. Now, you are proposing to appoint Mr. X as an auditor of B Limited. He is not holding shares in B Limited. He is not holding shares in A Limited also. Neither in this company nor in his holding company. But he is holding shares in C Limited. C Limited is a subsidiary of the holding company of B Limited. C Limited is the subsidiary of B Limited holding, which is a co-subsidiary. That is also disqualification. Okay. Holding securities is one thing. The auditor or his relative or partner should not be indebted, mean owing money. Indebted means he owes money. He has borrowed money from them for an amount in excess of 5 lakh. They give you a limit there and they say up to 5 lakhs, chalo yaar. Sometimes, auditor may borrow nothing. I mean, the auditor or relative may borrow, nothing wrong. Up to 5 lakhs, okay. Above 5 lakhs, no. Indebted for an amount in excess of 5 lakhs. Right? Or, see, for example, we may take an advance, yeah. Right? Before starting the work, sometimes I'll say, hey, pay an advance and proceed. So up to 5 lakhs, okay. Because the advance is the amount I'll be owing, right? Indebted, right? So, allowed, chalo, up to 5 lakhs, okay, no problem. Indebted for an amount in excess of 5 lakhs. So that person is owing or borrowed more than 5 lakhs. Provided guarantee or security on behalf of any third person in excess of rupees 1 lakh. See, the auditor, okay, has provided a guarantee on behalf of a third person. Suppose that third person does not pay, who will have to pay? Auditor. So in effect, auditor is only borrowing. See, suppose the third person does not pay, you will be studying. We will be talking about indemnity and guarantee in the next series of classes. When I talk about Indian Contract Act, I will talk about indemnities and guarantees. So when a surety, a person called a surety, promises in case the principal debtor does not pay the amount that he will pay it, it's called a guarantee. Okay. So now if this auditor is becoming surety for the any third person to the company, it amounts to borrowing because instead of directly borrowing from the company, I'm indirectly borrowing. I'm asking the company to give a loan to somebody, my friend or somebody, and I'm saying I will guarantee. Tomorrow that fellow says, sorry, I can't pay. Company can collect from me. It amounts to indebtedness. Therefore, providing guarantee or any security on behalf of any third person in excess of rupees 1 lakh. Remember these limits of indebtedness 5 lakhs. Security guarantee or security 1 lakh. More importantly, a relative may hold shares of face value not exceeding 1 lakh. Exception is given only to relative. I have highlighted that. Did you see that? Only relatives are given an exception. Such relatives may hold shares of face value not exceeding 1 lakh. Okay, up to 1 lakh relative can hold. Friends, please note the wording. Face value, important. Not exceeding 1 lakh. Up to 1 lakh, okay. 1 lakh, 1,000, 1 lakh, 1 lakh and 1 rupee covered. 1 lakh not covered. 99 not covered. Got it? 999, 999 not covered. 1 lakh not covered. 1,000,001 covered. I hope I cannot be clearer than this. So, okay, Poojaji, thank you for greeting me as usual with your review. UDIN is not like OTP. For generating UDIN, you need OTP. It is like a digital signature. It's a unique code that is generated and given. To generate that code, the OTP will come to my mobile and my registered email ID. Such a protection is there. It can't be misused by anybody because my mobile only it will come, which is my handheld device, which I protect like anything, and my email ID, which is password protected again. So it's a very powerful method of protecting. It's not OTP. UDIN is a unique number. Okay, it's a unique transaction identity number which is generated every time. See, whenever you make a bank transfer, please note next time you will find that there is a unique identity number. Very important in banking. That is how that particular transaction is happening. This is how blockchain works. Every time it is, a hash is generated to uniquely identify that transaction. This is similar to that, but not exactly that. No, don't confuse with blockchain. This is not blockchain, but it can go to blockchain. If it comes to it, it can go to blockchain also. Okay, so very powerful protection for us. I think it should be, because seriously, you are asking the right question, Pooja, to the wrong person. I am sirf faculty hoon. Main sirf faculty hoon. Send a query to the institute. I'm sure the institute people will give you a proper reply for this. I'm not competent to answer this question. Inshallah, we will. Hopefully, yes. Let's pray like that. What do you say? Yeah, Sneha ji, my father is also a chartered accountant. It's a double-edged sword. Expectations are also there. Benefits are also there. I got my mentoring from my father, which is important. My father gave me not even one pie, nothing. Even his practice, he didn't give it to me. I developed my own practice from scratch. Nobody will believe this, but fact. But from him, what I got is I got a greater wealth. The wealth that I got from my father was not mere money or practice or, no. The wealth that I got from my father was knowledge and practical knowledge, which he taught me during my articleship for 2 years. I did with my father. He used to take me to the client place, hearing. And of course, he also drove me like a slave. And he made me work from scratch, from bottom to top I could come. But he gave me mentoring and how to handle situations. This is the greatest asset I got from my father. Sorry to mention this, but since it has come up, I'm telling. I'm not a typical second generation chartered accountant, who just qualified and then father called him, please come son, hugged him and made him a partner and all. Nothing happened to me. I was chased out like a stone for Danny Fisher. My father sent me out into the desert without bread and only stone, and he sent me out. Then I came back from the wilderness and built my own practice, right? So just for your information, not to waste your time. Okay, this is important. So we are going to see some problems also here. So to help you understand. So clearly, face value not exceeding 1 lakh. I hope you listened when I was explaining this. In the event of acquiring any security or interest by a relative, actually it should be in the event of acquisition of any security or interest. As usual, grammatical errors. Regularly they commit grammatical errors in the act because the people drafting it possibly are not so well acquainted with the English language as they should be. Okay, unfortunate. So in the event of acquiring any security or interest by a relative above the threshold, what is the threshold? 5 lakhs for indebtedness, 1 lakh for guarantee. For relative alone holding shares 1 lakh. The chartered accountant or the partner who is to be appointed or any other partner cannot hold any share. Neither the partner signing nor any partner of that firm can hold even 1 share, security or debenture. But relatives of their partners, etc., can hold, relative of the auditor can hold up to 1 lakh. Exactly 1 lakh also is okay. So, in case, see, the auditor is appointed, at the time of appointment, nothing is there. Relative is not holding shares, they are not holding, partners are not holding. But suppose, subsequent appointment, due to some reason, some securities are acquired above the threshold prescribed, then the corrective action to maintain the limits as specified above shall be taken by the auditor within 60 days of such acquisition or interest. So suppose inadvertently, without knowing, or maybe the relative was holding some shares, bonus issue was made. Bonus issue they can't control, right? Post bonus is more than 1 lakh, no face value. Then the auditor is given 60 days to possibly transfer the shares or dispose of, so that the amount will come down. See, but for an auditor, it should be zero. So it is not possible for him to inadvertently acquire shares. He is doing it consciously. But even if he does that, he can sell it within 60 days. And thereby he can maintain his limit. Right? Yeah, the word relative you might have seen in the definition section. Quickly for recap, why I am giving this here, in the proxy, you are studying it in preliminary as part of definition. You have to correlate it here. The word relative is very specifically defined under the Companies Act. It is, see, normally everybody is a relative. Okay, relative means your father's elder brother's son is your relative only. Okay, cousin, but not covered here. The relative is very specifically defined. Members of a Hindu undivided family are related to each other. Their cousin will come, provided they are members of a Hindu undivided family, co-partners. So you have a common grandfather or like that, father, then like you, then Hindu undivided family. They are husband and wife. Unfortunately, husband and wife are related to each other, right? Or one person is related to the other in the manner prescribed in Rule 4 of the Companies Act. The rules are there. This number of relatives has been drastically reduced to 8. Earlier, you had 22 relatives. In the earlier 1A, Schedule 1A, you had 22 relatives. Now, in the rules, Rule 4, you have only 8. You take the individual, father, mother, no problem. One generation above. Sister, brother, same generation, father, mother, sister, brother. Then one generation below, son, daughter. You can have either son or daughter. Son's wife is the daughter, daughter's. Do your duty, get them married, that's all. So with that, 8 relatives, right? In this list, you also include stepfather, stepmother, stepsister, stepbrother, they may not be natural. Father marries again. Okay, second wife ka son is a stepbrother. Second wife ka daughter is a stepsister. Correct? So on and so forth. For that mother, you are a stepson or stepdaughter. Got it? Actually, stepdaughter alone is not included. Check it out. Check out schedule Rule 4. Stepdaughter alone is not included. All other steps are stepdaughter alone is not included. Why? Kyon? No. I'm not able to answer that question. Why? You have to ask the geniuses who drafted the Companies Act 2013. Okay. So this is just for your quick reference. So usual relatives will be brother, sister, wife. These are the usual relatives mentioned in the problems. But be careful. These are the only relatives. Okay. See, important. In fact, there was a question in the exam in the final exam where I pointed out the answer. See, brother's wife is not a relative. More importantly, wife's brother is not a relative. You got it? Wife's brother is not a relative. Sister's husband not a relative. Okay, so on and so forth. So these are all, though brother-in-law is not a relative. Okay, in India we have 2 types of brother-in-law, right? We have wife's brother is a brother-in-law. Sister's husband also brother-in-law. In different cultures in the country, we have different names for them. In Indian culture, we have a name for every relative. So on. But they are not relatives. So in the exam, be careful. Okay, clear? If you have any doubts on relative, you can ask me, but I am sure it is pretty clear to you. Moving on. Yep, now continuing. So we were seeing disqualification of auditor. We saw A, B, C, D, very important. Then we use the word relative. Therefore, we defined relative. Now moving on to E. A person or a firm who, whether directly or indirectly, has business relationship. Hey, person is a very big term. It includes company. Every person is a big term. In fact, it includes firm also. But I'm surprised why they keep separating the firm there and giving. But a person or a firm, it's defined in the Act. The word person is defined. Or a firm who, whether directly or indirectly, has business relationship with the company or its subsidiary or its holding, associate or co-subsidiary. So remember this, all these people. Above holding, below subsidiary, same level, co-subsidiary, associate. Associate where I am having 20% or more. This is an associate company, right? Or subsidiary of such holding company or associate company ka subsidiary also covered. Same like here. Do you notice the difference? Here they are talking only about holding company. Here, associate holding company, subsidiary of the associate company is also covered for this E. Correct? What is business relationship? Simple. Either you buy from them or you sell to them. Either you buy goods or avail services, or you sell goods or provide services. Only possibility, right? What else is there? Completely covered under GST. In fact, GST is like Hiranyavara, where Hiranyakasipu asked for that anything and everything, there is any value is provided straight away. It's either a goods or a service. You can't bring it in between. Unless you and I as chartered accountants have to ingeniously think of something which will neither goods nor services. Like Narsimha, we have to think like that and take it through and say, hey, this is neither goods nor services. It doesn't have the color of goods, doesn't have the color of services, then no GST. That's a intellectual pastime you can, when you're idle, you can think anything which is neither goods nor services. Okay. Whatever it is, when you buy or sell goods or provide or avail services, it is business relationship. Okay. A person whose relative is a direct, okay, E is there. For E, business relationship shall be construed as any transaction entered into for a commercial purpose. So, I'm selling goods or buying for price. But, exception, very important, commercial transactions which are in the nature of professional services permitted to be rendered by an auditor under the Act. Anything that you are allowed to do, see, under the Chartered Accountants Act, Section 2, you will find so many things you are allowed to do as a member of the institute. Practicing member can do, including management consulting, training, which I do. Corporate training is part of management consulting, which I am allowed to do. And so, any service rendered by a chartered accountant which is permitted to do under the Act is not a commercial transaction. Because if I say that, then boss, I cannot be appointed. Every auditor will be having business relationship because we are providing a service, right? So that alone they exempt. They say provision of any service which is in the nature of a professional service permitted to be rendered by an auditor. Please, that is you when you are reading auditing code of conduct, you will study the permitted things that a chartered accountant can do and certain things that cannot be done. Because if you want to be in full-time practice, you should not engage in any other activity. So, but these activities are allowed. Okay. Of course, later on 144, Baba, don't get immediately, Hitesh Jain, be very careful, don't jump. There are certain services which the statutory auditor cannot provide. That is under the Act. Okay, that is there. But anything that you can provide, if you provide, that is not business relationship. Okay. A person whose relative is a director or is in the employment of the company as a director or key managerial personnel. So, here we talked about indebtedness of relative. Indebtedness of relative. Here we talk about the auditor himself being a partner or in employment. Now we are talking about relative being an employee or relative being a KMP. I'll give an example, you will understand it better. Sorry, one more exception is there for business relationship. Commercial transactions which are in the ordinary course of business of the company at arm's length price. Like sale of products or services to the auditor as customer in the ordinary course of business by companies engaged in the business of telecommunication, airline, hospitals, hotels, and such other similar business. This is only covering telecommunication, airline, hospital, hotel, and such other similar businesses. Friends, link this with your interpretation of statutes. Rule of ejusdem generis. There is an enumeration of specific terms followed by a general term. Similar businesses. So the word similar businesses, should it be read ejusdem generi or not? Question. Since you already studied interpretation of statutes, and you are experts in now interpretation, and you have studied ejusdem generis, the rule of ejusdem generis. The rule is very simple. No, where general terms follow specific terms, the general term shall be read as if it is of the same genus as the specific terms. So whether the words and such other similar businesses should take color from the specific terms. Should it be read ejusdem generi? That is the question. Could be a question in the exam. Okay. See, Do you notice one thing? I am not understanding the subject in silo, where, sir, auditing topic you are covering. Mr. Srikanth, don't talk about the interpretation of statute. That is another faculty only will teach. Hey, you are not in UG, college, not even in PG. You are no beyond that. You are in a professional course. Therefore, you should be able to link. Not only within that subject, you should be able to go across subjects also and link up. That is another level, but not at the intermediate stage, no. At the intermediate stage, we expect you to be thorough with the subject in its entirety, not just silo. Sir, when you are asking question in auditing, please don't go to Wisdom Generally, sir. That is not in this syllabus. Not like that. They can if they want combine it. They won't also, don't worry. Institute also is not doing such things, but they should, is what I feel. Yes, Akash Neil is confirming. This word, other similar businesses, should be read Wisdom Generally, which means suppose there is a supermarket chain and the auditor is entering into a commercial transaction, not possible. See, the idea is we should be independent. We should be detached. Okay. That way, I can talk more about this detachment. It's a mental makeup. It's an attitude of life. Members of our institute who have truly tuned themselves to the profession, we slowly become spiritual and philosophical and we move away from regular transactions. At one stage, when we are very old, we feel 65, we say, enough is enough. More enjoyment will not help me to attain moksha. Okay, detachment only will take me away. So more enjoyment is not the way, like that. These realizations come faster to members of our own profession. Okay, because we see so much wealth being earned, being squandered, being lost, and we see people in huge emotional disturbance, and then we start thinking, what is there here? Why are these people doing all these things? And we become slowly detached. If that can happen, that is the greatest thing that can happen to you as a member. But if again you are also going to be caught in this mess of money, then what can we do? For you only the rules are there. For such people, not you. For such people only these rules are there. For honorable people, no need for any rules. They will, on their own, they will know what is right and what is wrong. Right? Okay, good. Practicing CA cannot run. Yeah, you cannot run your own business and all. You can't be a partner in a business also. Okay. You can, if the permission of the institute, then you will be treated as member in part-time practice. I don't know if that concept is there in it. That is there. Part-time practice, you cannot sign balance sheet and all. Once you become, you cannot be a bank auditor. You can sign balance sheets, but you cannot be a partner. You can run a business. I think you can be a partner of a family business or a director of a family business with the permission and still hold a COP, but it may not be of much use to you because you will not be in whole-time practice. And but definitely one thing is sure, you are a firm in which you are a partner, cannot have a business relationship with the company where you are the auditor. Okay. Yeah. See, this particular topic on whether a CA can own his own business, run, etc., you will definitely study when you come to auditing. At that time, you concentrate. But by and large, you cannot. If you do it, then you will be disqualified as a full-time practice. You will not be in whole-time practice. So for any appointments, empanelment, etc., they ask for whole-time practice. So how many partners are there in whole-time practice? So this man has to be excluded there. So there's no big deal in that. Okay. Got it? So if you want to do anything outside of the permitted activities, you have to get permission from the institute. In fact, when I started doing corporate training and HR training in 90s, I started becoming a leadership coach and a trainer. I wrote to the institute for permission to do this. And then at that time, I think the secretary was Mr. Narang was with somebody. I forget the name. I still have that letter where he said, you are already permitted under section 2, sir. Please read 2. Management consulting is already there. You are already permitted. Please go ahead and do it. So the point is, we have to take permission if at all we want to do. Good, Akash Neil, for that. And moving on. G, lot of disqualifications, right? A person who is in full-time employment elsewhere cannot be appointed as an auditor of a company. Employee of some other company, no, cannot be appointed as a auditor, or a person or partner of a firm holding appointment as its auditor, if such person or partner is at the date of such appointment or reappointment holding appointment as auditor of more than 20 companies. So, as you know, there is a limit of 20 companies. Okay. A chartered accountant can be an auditor of only 20 companies. More about it later when we come to the limits. Partner also 20. So per partner 20. If it's a firm, per partner 20. Okay. Private companies are also included. But in the case of private companies, the following are excluded. Like one-person company, dormant company, small company. That's a great relief because many of these private companies will be small companies. So we can exclude them. They will fall within the definition of small company. Okay, which means you are left with 20 companies which are not small companies, public or private. So OPCs are also exempted, dormant is exempted, small companies, private companies having a paid up share capital of less than 100 crore, super. Other private company also, other than small company, less than 100 crore rupees, paid up capital, exempted. So almost all private companies will go out, unless you have a private company which has we do have a couple of audits where the paid up share capital is 100 crore plus. Those are included for the purpose of 20. Okay. This is an interesting area. We'll maybe work out a problem in the next class. Okay. See, today I won't be giving a break due to certain unavoidable reasons. You know, I have to leave a little early. I have to go to a long place. I mean, in Chennai, I live in a place called T Nagar. I have to go to a place called Ambattur. I'm conducting a one-day workshop today for a company at their, training center. Therefore, I have to go a little early. My car will be coming at 9. Therefore, I'm sort of going to stop early today. Therefore, which we'll make up, don't worry. We will make up that lost 15 minutes. We'll make it up in the future classes with your permission. And so don't worry about break. We'll go on till 9 without a break. Okay? Bear with me on this. So coming back to the point, a person who is in full-time employment elsewhere, or a person or a partner of a firm holding appointment, if the number of audits is more than 20. Person or partner. So you are appointing Mr. A. At the time of appointment of A has to confirm that with this appointment, the number will not go beyond 20. Similarly, if you are a partner of a firm, ABC Limited, B partner is signing, then B should have the limit of 20. Right? Per partner limit. Each partner 20. Okay. You can't, surplus of B cannot go to C and all. B 20, C 20, A 20. Total 60. Okay. Which is why our firm, we have 6 partners. So we managed to distribute. And I don't sign. Somebody else has to sign. That's all. What to do? Okay. He has to sign and he will take care of the audit. So my limit is 20. I can't go beyond that. Luckily, exemption is there for one-person company, dormant company, small company, and private companies having paid up share capital less than 100 crore. So that will clear a lot of clients. A lot of our medium SME clients are not included in 20 because they are less than 100 crore rupees paid up capital, paid up share capital. Turnover, some of them will have 300 crore, 200 crore and all. This is only paid up share capital. Okay. Now, this is clear. A person who has been convicted by a court of an offense involving fraud and a period of 10 years has not elapsed from the date of such conviction. Convicted means even fine is conviction. Even if a fine is levied by the court, it is conviction. Imprisonment is also conviction. Fine is also conviction. Which is why you have to be very careful. Conviction by a court is very dangerous. Okay. So you have other option that is called compounding. Later on in final, you will study this. I also made a point now. Whenever a penalty says fine only or fine or imprisonment, you can get it compounded. That means you can go to the regional director or the tribunal, fall at their feet and say, please compound it. They will agree. It's a discretionary power. Then based on that, they will say compounded. That means the matter will be withdrawn. The prosecution will be withdrawn. And the court will record that not convicted or you are acquitted. So the conviction will be gone. For that, you have to pay heavy compounding fee. Okay. Sorry, I say you. Sorry, I should say I or maybe somebody else. Point is, it is possible to avoid conviction because conviction is very dangerous. If somebody has been convicted for fraud, and fraud very difficult to compound, I'll tell you why. Because imprisonment is involved. 420 and all imprisonment is involved. Suppose a company is proposing to issue bitcoins. Sorry, not bitcoin, cryptocurrency, bogus, bogus currency. Simply they are cheating the public. Since everybody wants to take part in the cryptocurrency craze, today the very important word for the new generation is FOMO. FOMO. You know what is FOMO? Fear of missing out. Today, the Gen Z is defined by FOMO, fear of missing out. I should not miss out on this. So everybody is buying cryptocurrency. I should also buy. See, it's not as if FOMO is new to Gen Z. FOMO was always there. The number of people is now more. The proportion of the population which is FOMO crazy is more now. Everybody wants to. See, that movie everybody has seen. I should not miss it. First, I have to go. I have to watch it. Otherwise, I'll go mad. The IPL match, everybody is watching. I should not miss. Even if tomorrow I have to, prepare. I've got a timetable for my exam preparation and this topic has to be studied today. No. It's okay. Yeah. IPL will come only once in a lifetime. No, sir. IPL will come next year. IPL will come next year. Those fellows will earn crores and crores at their expense every year. Don't worry. Whereas your exam will not come again. This opportunity will not come again. They take it as a humble suggestion from a Buddha who has cleared the exam. Okay, so that, and for 3 years, forget cricket, forget movies, forget everything. Concentrate on this exam. The reward will be for a lifetime. Your reward will be for a lifetime. The investment of 3 years of your life, blood, sweat and tears into this activity, the reward will be lifetime. It's like IIT. Getting into IIT, studying IIT, tough. Once you finish IIT, what a future you got. Like IIM, IIT. That is where ICA is there. Instead of strategy. If you become a member of institute, that's it. But it's tough. Obviously, it's tough. Then everybody will do it. Now they need to become engineering. Yeah. Any donkey can join engineering college, become engineer. It's not like that. Even doctor is becoming now easy. MBBS has no value today. Whereas we still have a lot of value. Okay. So sometimes I will talk with pride like this. Please pardon me. This is the pride of a member who is wanting to motivate you to become a member. Okay. But it is tough. It is not easy. You can't enjoy IPL. You can't go first day, FD, FS, first day, first show, and also become a chartered accountant. That 3 years of your life will become blank. You will not know what movies were released, what games were done, nothing. That 3 years of your life, it will be a blank as far as social is concerned. You may not attend you may not attend marriages of close relatives. Sometimes it may happen like that. Your entire life will be closed for 3 years. Sif. 3 years. 3 saal. Then the whole world is in your feet. You can do anything you want. Okay? Good. So, conviction by a court. 10 years is the cooling period. After that, he can be appointed. Okay. A person who directly or indirectly renders any service referred to in section 144. As I told you, 144 mentions certain services. See, these services are not prohibited for chartered accountant per se. Chartered accountants can render those services normally, but if you want to be the statutory auditor of the company, for that company, you cannot render some services. So if you render those services, then the person who is rendering such services, directly or indirectly, will be seeing in 144 definition of direct and indirect. Anyway, if he is doing it, then such a person is disqualified. So 144 prohibited service can be rendered, should not be rendered either to the company or its holding or its subsidiary. Holding, subsidiary, company. All three. You have to calculate. Not either directly or indirectly. We'll be seeing it very shortly, hopefully today, in this. Okay. It's a good question. Somesh is asking. In compoundable offense, the fees charged. Then also disqualified an auditor of company? No, sir. Once your conviction, once you go for compounding, then you are not convicted. But then practical fraud, it will not be possible to compound. But under CRPC, there is a compounding provision. It's a very, very legal point. But if you compound it, then you are not convicted. There is no disqualification. To answer your question, how to compound it? Not under the Companies Act. Because fraud will come under the IPC, Indian Penal Code, and the CRPC. So there you have to go. So this is beyond Companies Act, boss. You have now entered a great area called fraud. Therefore, that comes under a different, not even Contract Act. This is IPC, Indian Penal Code. Okay. Okay. So that is how it is. Fraud definition under the Contract Act. No, this is bigger fraud. You are committing, as I told you, cryptocurrency, some companies. So you are giving your certificate as an auditor that such and such a currency is valid. You earn your money, more money than what you earn, like that. False statements, and you are also giving your. See, you are becoming a director of that company. Let us say you are a member of the institute, and you become a director of that company, and that company is promoting cryptocurrencies and all fraud. Then, along with the other directors, you will also be. So, which is why my humble suggestion to you: never become director of a company. If you're going to practice as a chartered accountant, or even if you're going to be in service, never become a director of a company unless you are 100% sure that that company is honorable, has got corporate governance, should be, of course, 125% and all. If I say that, will be wrong. As a member, I cannot. How can there be 125%? So you should be 100% sure that the company is extremely governance oriented. If so, become an independent director or whatever that. But otherwise, do not become a director of companies. Whatever money you get out of such fraud fellows will be nothing when compared to the shame that will come later on when you are arrested and put in jail and all that. And then convicted 10 years. No? Don't go there at all. Don't be tempted. We can easily earn money in practice by honorably rendering service to the clients. Okay. Now, these are the disqualifications we have seen. If a person appointed as an auditor of a company incurs any of the disqualifications, see, at the time of appointment, he is not disqualified. Subsequent to appointment, the disqualification is coming. Then he shall be, the minute that disqualification is incurred, he shall be deemed to have vacated his office. Right? Straight away deemed. I'll give a simple example. Mr. A is the auditor of ABC Limited. Right? At the time of appointment, no relative is an employee or a key managerial personnel. Subsequently, we'll be seeing an example also. A relative becomes a key managerial personnel. Then, on the date when that relative is appointed, auditor will deem to vacate his office. That will be treated as a casual vacancy, can be filled by the board. We'll be seeing casual vacancy later. One exception, be careful, where the security or interest is acquired by a relative. Security or interest is acquired by a relative. Did you notice that? Because the auditor himself, how you knowingly, if you do it, then sorry, the day you acquire it, you are disqualified. Or the day you borrow in excess of 5 lakh, you are disqualified. But if relative is doing, how you can control? Right? So you need 60 days to convince the relative to sell the share or repay the loan or whatever. This is the only exception. Acquiring any security or interest by a relative. So A is not holding shares at the time of appointment. Subsequent to appointment, the auditor is acquiring 1 share, 100 shares, disqualified, straight away deemed. Relative is acquiring face value 1 lakh shares, more than face value 1 lakh. Then 60 days time is given for removing the disqualification. Otherwise, on the expiry of the 60th day, the disqualification will come into effect, automatically vacated. You are clear? Your doubt is, I hope this is not a doubt anymore. Good. Moving on to some problems, some practical questions. CA Vikas is appointed as the auditor of ABC Limited. Actually, I know a nice boy called Vikas who is a chartered accountant. CA Vikas is appointed as the auditor of ABC Limited on 17/7/2019. On 15/4/2020, his brother is appointed as non-executive director on the board of ABC Limited. What are the consequences? This is exactly the example I gave you. At the time of appointment, no disqualification. 17/7. On 15/4, when his brother is appointed, disqualified. And it's immediately the disqualification taken. Okay. It will be a casual vacancy, means that post will have to be filled. We will see that. How to fill a casual vacancy, we will see it in resignation, etc. It will be treated as a casual vacancy. See, resignation is a specific act where the auditor is resigning, right? Removal is where the company is removing. These two are examples. Anything other than that is casual. Auditor dying or becoming insane or acquiring a disqualification. All these are casual vacancies. Okay. Mr. Ram, brother of C.A. Sham, practicing chartered accountant, acquired securities of Messrs. COL Limited, having market value of 1,20,000, face value 95,000. State whether C.A. Sham is qualified to be appointed as statutory auditor. I'll wait for your answer quickly. This is just to check whether you have understood it or not. Instead of me giving the answer, I will wait. Is C.A. Sham qualified? Ram is holding shares having market value 1,20,000. Can Sham be appointed? Shruti, I will explain compounding, but not important, but I will explain it later. Have some patience, I will explain. Whereas, Shruti ji, this is important. Concentrate on this. This is going to be very important from the exam point of view. Yes, second question, qualified. But be careful. Will your answer be different if the shares have face value of 1 lakh? Face value 1 lakh? Quickly type in the answer. Face value 1 lakh. Or give A, B, like that. 1 lakh face value, 1,05,000 face value. Yeah, when it is exactly equal to 1 lakh also, there is no disqualification. Only in the second B, he will be disqualified. Because now the face value is exceeding 1 lakh. 1,05,000 disqualification. Please understand this. In fact, there is a question asked in the examination. I'm blindly taking a... Mr. Bandreddy, I don't know what you're doing. You're, I think, pressing enter. Bandreddy ji, you're doing something, you're repeating it blank. Blank queries are coming. Be careful. Check out what you're doing. Don't do that. I have to push a lot. 2A, no difference. You got it. 2A, no different. Let's see. Then Puja, yes for 1 lakh also. Correct. Ha. A, no disqualification. Correct. C.A. Sham is qualified as auditor because relative old share face value less than 1 lakh. 2B disqualified. 2B disqualified. Correct. Akash Neil gives a very elaborately nice answer. Try to write answers like the way Neil is doing. Neil is doing. The exam, multiple choice questions are there, no doubt, but you have still got descriptive questions also. Okay, so excellent. So you have understood the topic well. Thank you. Ultimate story. I love this story. Okay. C.A. Anil was appointed as auditor of DEF Limited on 30/9/2019. While conducting the audit, he met C.S. Neha. What a beautiful love story. I love this. I like this story. The company secretary of the company. Imagine, no? Beautiful movie, right? So he meets the company secretary. They fall in love with each other. and got married on 15/1/2000. Anil is the auditor. Okay. Falling in love with the company secretary is not a crime. But unfortunately, getting married is also not a crime. But what will happen? So, while we wish Anil and Neha a very happy married life, what is the advice we have to give to CA Anil and to the company, DEF Limited? See, this is where, you can't, it's not like multiple choice. See, multiple choice, all the effort is on the paper setter to give you 4 options. Whereas in descriptive answer, you have to write the answer. Which is why students like multiple choice. Because then you have to simply choose A, B, C. Maybe somebody's inability to write fluently in English will get overlooked in that process. Okay, so I think you know the answer. There's a lag in your responses. Yes. Yeah. Disqualified as an auditor. See. Correct. See, this is the difference. Beautifully put, Somesh ji. Here, Neha was always the company secretary. Anil was the auditor. Till 14/1 midnight, nothing happened because he is auditor, she is company secretary. They are not married. But the minute marriage occurs now, 15/1 May, on that day, disqualification occurs because the relationship comes. As rightly, beautifully put by Somesh ji, said, relationship of relative comes into existence on 15/1. At that time, there is a disqualification. Anil can no longer continue. It's a casual vacancy. Okay. So it's a sacrifice. So Anil's life begins with the first sacrifice, which is losing the audit of DEF Limited for marrying Neha ji. Okay. So, we salute them, these great lovers. After Shah Jahan Mumtaz, we have Anil and Neha, one of the greatest sacrifices done by the chartered accountant for the marriage. Okay. We appreciate them. Quickly, some more questions. Beautiful, right? Beautifully written. Prabhas cannot continue as an auditor as this. Beautifully. C. Anil will be disqualified for his appointment as statutory auditor on account of being married to an employee of, becoming married, not being married, becoming married. Day he marries, done. Examine whether the following persons are eligible for being appointed as auditor. Prakash is a practicing chartered accountant. Akash. See, here they simply say relative. They are not telling what is the nature of the relationship. Whereas here, Sham, in Ram and Sham, brother, here they are saying relative. So we will take it that it's covered under Rule 4. But if you are smart, and you are writing the answer, you will display your knowledge. It is presumed that Mr. Akash is a relative of Mr. Prakash within the meaning of Rule 4. That way, examiner is impressed. Wow, the student knows all these things. I tell you, descriptive questions are better than multiple choice for displaying your knowledge, displaying your control over the subject. Mr. Prakash is holding securities of ABC Limited having face value 70,000, market value 110. So you can give the answer like 1, disqualified, 2, not disqualified, like that. Whatever is the answer. I'm not saying it is disqualified. Mr. Ramesh is a practicing chartered accountant indebted to MNB Limited for 6 lakhs. Directors want to appoint Mr. Ramesh. Mrs. KVJ, spouse of Mr. Kumar, a chartered accountant, is the storekeeper of PRC Limited. Can the directors appoint Mr. Kumar as an auditor? I'm waiting for your answers. Just put 1, 2, 3, put your answer. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, he is eligible to be appointed because the face value is less than 1 lakh. 2, not eligible. 3, not disqualified. Why? 4(3) not disqualified. Why? Because they are only talking about let's check. A person whose relative is a director or is the employment of the company as a director or KMP. Please note, a person whose relative is a director or is in the employment of the company as a director or KMP. So only KMP is covered. That is why Neha got covered, because she is a KMP, company secretary, right? Whereas Mrs. KVJ is a storekeeper, not a KMP. Therefore, no disqualification. Are you clear? KVJ, see, because KMP is only covered. Employment as a key managerial personnel, KMP. Storekeeper is not a key managerial personnel. Okay, therefore, not covered. It is presumed that Mr. Akash is a relative also as per the Provisions of Companies Act. As per the provision, any relative should not hold face value more than. In that instant case, Prakash can be appointed as auditor. Mr. Akash holds. Oh, yes. Good. Beautifully, sir. Beautiful. 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 I'm very happy that you are practicing writing answers descriptively. So happy. But nobody is talking about 3. Dhaneshwari says 3 eligible. Correct. 3 eligible. So quickly, 1 eligible, 2 not eligible, 3 eligible. Okay. Now we move on to the famous section 144, which is auditor shall not offer any of the following services, whether such services are rendered directly or indirectly to the company or its holding company or subsidiary company. Okay. Directly or indirectly. So if Mr. A is the statutory auditor or ABC Co is the statutory auditor, then such a auditor or firm of auditors cannot render these services directly or indirectly. Example, accounting and bookkeeping services. Accounting and bookkeeping services. So the company, while you're auditing, you say accounts are not properly maintained. Immediately they say, sir, you yourself maintain the accounts. Sorry, not allowed. You cannot be statutory. You can do that. Then you cannot be statutory. See, please understand one thing. The choice is there. It is not that you are prohibited forever. If you want to do such services, then you jolly will not be statutory auditor. Obviously, because independence is involved. See, though it's a little too advanced for you, in auditing you might be studying it. The so-called Enron, Satyam scandal. Forget Satyam. Enron was a classic example where Arthur Andersen, the audit firm, was also rendering consulting services. So if you're, in fact, it is because of that only that whole Sarbanes-Oxley thing came because of Enron. And thereafter they said, look here, you want to be statutory auditor, you can't be also do consulting. You can't do both for the same company. Therefore, accounting and bookkeeping services not allowed. Internal audit not allowed. So the same firm cannot, or the same individual cannot be statutory auditor and internal auditor. They should be alag-alag. The internal auditor should be separate from the statutory auditor. Only then they will, otherwise, it will amount to me overseeing my own work. Suppose there is an internal auditor, as a statutory auditor, I will be verifying internal control. And I will be ensuring that the internal control is commensurate with the nature and size of this company. But I can't do it if I'm also the internal auditor. I cannot say, yeah, don't worry, internal audit is good. Because I'm certifying myself here. Cannot do. So internal audit. Design and implementation of any financial information system, SAP design, software services. Please render. Nobody is preventing you. But you cannot be also the statutory auditor. Okay. Friends, this applies only to statutory audit. Don't immediately get confused. There are other audits under the Income Tax Act. You got tax audit and all that. That is all you can do. But statutory audit you cannot do. Actuarial services. Though actuarial services are very specialized, chartered accountant firms can render actuarial services. If a member is qualified, then he can give. But if he is going to do that, then he cannot be statutory. Okay. Investment advisory services not allowed. So you might be an expert in capital market. I think some of you are already highly qualified in capital markets and all. So such people can give investment advisory services. If you decide to do that, then you cannot be a statutory auditor of that. Investment banking services. This company wants to go public. You are a category, you are a merchant banker and registered with the SEBI. One of the partners is a merchant banker registered with SEBI. Agreed. So we will also become the advisor to the issue. No. Sorry, you can, but you cannot be statutory auditor. Think about it. The same guy who's promoting the issue is also certifying the balance sheet. You think independence will be there? Will you not be tempted to tweak here and there to ensure that the public issue becomes successful? Therefore, they say investment banking service is not allowed. See, this cannot be done directly or indirectly also. We'll see that. Rendering of outsourced financial services. For example, back office, etc., etc. Management services, okay, HR, recruitment, management services. We can do that. Chartered accountants are permitted to do this. Any other type of services as may be prescribed. As of now, none. So these services, remember them, okay, cannot be rendered by a person who is directly or indirectly by a statutory auditor. Again, I'm saying, if you cannot have both. You have a choice. Either you be the statutory auditor or you render these services. You see which is more remunerative to you. Decide that and then go. Now, where the auditor is an individual, then the word directly or indirectly we are dividing. The auditor is an individual, then he cannot do this. His relatives cannot do. Or other person connected or associated with such individual. Okay. Entity in which such individual, that means such individual here, it always refers to auditor. Individual cannot do by himself, relatives. Other persons connected or associated with such individual. Entity in which such individual has significant influence or control. 20% and above significant influence. So, where shares are above 20% and above shares are held in a company, that company cannot also render. Okay. This is for individual. Entity whose name or trademark or brand is used by such individual. Okay. This is where, see, sometimes, there may be a brand. I don't want to name any specific brand, but some firms are brands. The minute you mention the name of that firm, there's a lot of recognition. Now, when that brand is used by that entity, the other entity also is rendering the services, that also prohibited. Means you are the statutory auditor. As a statutory auditor, you have a lot of brand, you have a lot of respect. You can't misuse it to get other services from that same client. Okay, but believe me, easily these are being circumvented right, left, and center. Okay, but then that's how it is. See, in the case of a firm, the firm cannot render such services. The partners of the firm cannot render such services. Parent firm, suppose there is a bigger firm, foreign firm, that firm also cannot render such services. See, there may be 15 partners in India, right? There may be 3 of them may be partners of the US firm. That's the parent firm. Okay, it's possible. Where there's a parent firm which will give the license to this firm to operate. That parent firm also cannot render these services to the audited company. So cross-selling is not possible. So if you are a partner of a big firm, you cannot cross-sell these services. You can only sell status function. You cannot cross-sell these services to the same client. A subsidiary firm. So for example, there may be 10 partners here. Out of that, 4 partners may be in a firm. That is a subsidiary firm controlled by this firm. See, all these things big firms have started using. They misuse it like anything to, do all sorts of nonsense. Okay. But to an extent, see, all this was not there before 2013. Before 2013, anything could be done by anybody. Same firm will be doing everything. Then, thanks to Sarbanes-Oxley, thanks to Enron, they wanted to put an end to this cross-selling. And see, ultimately, we are talking about dependence. When you are dependent on somebody, see, think about it. When Draupadi was, when Vastrabharan was happening, Uchadana was removing the Vastram of Draupadi. Why did Bhishma keep quiet? Why did Kripa keep quiet. Dronacharya is keeping quiet. Why? Because they are interested. They are not listening. The daily bread and butter is coming from this fellow. So or for Bhishma and all, it is a bigger thing. Okay? Reputation. He is Kuru. Therefore, he cannot let go. And all that. My firm, I cannot let go. So even if one partner does a fraud, they will cover it up. So all that sort of thing happens, when think about it. Only one man had the guts to stand up and say, what you are doing is wrong. And that was Vidur. One more man stood up. That was Vikarna. Vikarna was a brother of Duryodhana, one of the 100. One of the 100 Kauravas, Vikarna, was the only man who could stand up and tell Duryodhana, what you are doing is wrong. It is not honorable for a Kshatriya to do what you are doing. Like that, only Vikarna could do this. That is why Vikarna is still seen as one of the great people. Both Karna and Vikarna are totally different. Even Karna kept quiet at that point in time. A, because he had an enemy to the Pandava. 2, again, everything he is having, his entire glory comes from this fellow. Yeah. The minute he opposes him, what that guy will do, send him out, then everything will go. This is the unfortunate, pathetic situation of partners of multinational firms. You are enjoying so many wealth, you are enjoying so many facilities, business class, stay in star hotels, all that. One day, if you don't oblige, you're gone. That fear. So that is a real threat to ethics, is the point. Of course, I'm not saying everybody is like that, but I'm saying all that is the problem. Anyway, so that is why they are saying let the temptation be reduced a little bit so that these fellows cannot do that same service to that company. Okay. So an associate entity of the firm also cannot do. Another LLP, see where there are common partners, gone. Entity in which the firm has significant influence. Firm has significant influence. How? Any partner may be holding more than 20% like that. But here it becomes a little vague. So what they do is they create an entity with which arm's length, no connection. Then that entity will render service. Everybody will know they are all connected with each other. But on paper, it will be different. So such things are all there. Entity in which any partner of the firm has significant influence or control. The firm itself has significant influence, partner has significant influence. Again, entity whose name or trademark or brand is used by the firm or any of its partners. See, today I can use Arthur Andersen very openly. Why? Because there is no Arthur Andersen anymore. Okay, but for the grace of God, that's all I can say. But for the grace of God, Arthur Andersen got caught. That's all I can say here. Okay, so Arthur Andersen had a consulting firm where that Arthur Andersen brand was extended to that consulting firm also. They had a huge consulting firm. In fact, the consulting firm became Accenture. In fact, the one important complaint about Arthur Andersen was the consulting division employed more engineers than chartered accountants. See, the entire firm, Arthur Andersen, if you take, they were employing more engineers than chartered accountants. For example, Deloitte employs engineers because they consistently do engineering consulting. They do quality consulting. They do productivity. Nothing wrong. I'm not saying that is wrong. While you are doing productivity consulting for a company, while you are doing consulting, you cannot also be the statutory auditor. That is all. Because that is what happened in Enron. Arthur Andersen was getting so much revenue from Enron through consulting assignments that they did whatever the CEO wanted them to do. They signed false balance sheets. They falsified things. That's how the whole firm collapsed. You should read about it. Possibly in auditing, they will teach you about what happened to Arthur Andersen and in the Enron scam. Okay, this is published information. I'm quoting a published data. Just like Satyam is published. Okay, these are also published. Wonderful. So I know, thanks for not asking for a break and putting up with continuing. Correct. Before we go to appointment, let us see any questions. Yeah. There's a lot of personal bias. Sir, forget personal bias. Financial gain, huge amount. See, any of you wants to become partner of a multinational firm, please don't think I'm saying it's wrong. It is a great opportunity. In fact, I was working in Pricewaterhouse for 3 years. Suppose I had struggled hard, worked hard, I would have become partner one day. But I prefer not to. That's all. It's a good thing. But while you are there, be careful. The higher the position, the greater the temptation. So overcome the temptation. That is all I am trying to advise you as a senior member. Wish you all the best. You should all become partners of large firms and earn a lot of money. Earning money is not a crime. Earn money. How you earn money is more important. That is all. Okay. Earn money honorably, enjoy, spend it, blow it. Who can ask you any question? Okay. Maker cannot be checker. Beautifully told, Pooja. Absolutely. If CA providing services to associate company, will CA be eligible? Associate company, no. See, do you remember this? Disqualification is for only 3 categories. 144 services should not be rendered to the company or its holding company or subsidiary company. Only 3 categories. Okay. Then you are disqualified. You got it? And here, 144 says, auditor shall not render that to holding or subsidiary. The company, holding or subsidiary. So, associate company will not be covered. Right, sir? Good point. Good question, Dhanupriya. Is it possible the statutory auditor of XYZ Limited is a KMP in ABC Limited? No, are they two connected? I don't understand your question. Is it possible the statutory auditor of XYZ? No, because if he is a KMP in ABC Limited, is he a person who is in full-time employment elsewhere? Then he cannot be appointed as a statutory auditor here. So KMP, I don't know what KMP. You see, whole-time director, company secretary, CEO, full-time employment. Therefore, he will come under the chief disqualification here. Okay, so he cannot be appointed. I hope you got how I am getting the disqualification. Being a KMP of another company is not a crime. Agreed. But that amounts to full-time employment, right? So if he is in full-time employment elsewhere, then not eligible. The tabular column prescribed who are not eligible to render services. Yes. I will try to understand your question. Is this what you mean? This one. Yeah. See, if the auditor is an individual, these people cannot. In addition to the auditor, relative, etc., etc. In addition to the firm, partners, parent firm, etc., etc. They also cannot render the services mentioned to the company, its holding company, its subsidiary company. Not necessarily in another country. It can be in India also. Parent and subsidiary will happen how, the partners of the parent will be partners here, or partners here will be parent there, like that. Will be partners there. So when there are common partners, so parent subsidiary answer. Okay. The idea is they will have some kind of a link. Also, suppose you are working in a multinational firm, one of the important things is to become a partner of the international firm. It will take a lot of effort. You should really prove yourself. You should be able to everything. You should be technically perfect. You should be capable of generating revenue. You should be able to, highly influential person. Then the entire Southeast Asia you will become. Then you will become a partner in the main firm. It's a great thing. I'm not at all downplaying that. It's a great opportunity. If you would like to do that, it's good. But you have to dedicate yourself to that activity. You have to really give your heart and soul to that firm and work for its time. A lot of time has to be spent. The time that they take from you will be very high, for which they will give you good money. Money will also be there. Time also will be extracted. See, in my case, I took a conscious decision to walk out of Pricewaterhouse because I realized that I had other things that I wanted to do in my life, like teaching, like corporate training, so many things I wanted to do in my life, for which I would not get time if I were working in a multinational firm. Then it will be unfair. No, I cannot do both. And so I prefer to walk out. So if you can dedicate that type of time and really work, then believe me, it's too rewarding. Now, appointment of auditors, we get into the topic appointment of auditors. Let us hope we can complete it today. which means it will be a good milestone to cover for today. Almost I would have covered what I wanted to cover. The first auditor, right, is a very important appointment, because when the company is incorporated, it should have an auditor. Within 30 days, it should have an auditor. The first board meeting, the first auditor should be appointed. This was the old rule in the 56th Act. So without auditor, it cannot be done. So we have to see this topic under two categories. One is government company. The other is other than government company. Friends, the time is now 8:30. I need to go for a biology break. So shall we take a quick 5-minute break? Quick 5 minutes. I need a biology break. Ram, 5-minute ka break. Is that okay? 5 minutes ka. Okay, let's get back exactly 5 minutes later. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. So, thank you for bearing with me. It was a quick, I needed to do this. But then, sorry for calling you back again so quickly. Okay. The first auditor of a government company and first auditor of other than government company. We have to see it in these two categories. Other than government company, government company. So, though not in your syllabus, this is not in your syllabus, but you have to know this. What is a government company? Reason. Regularly they have asked question in the exam continuously. I was just analyzing the questions asked in the exam for the purpose of, these classes. I noticed that regularly they are asking questions on government company. Okay. Any company in which they are asking you a question where they give you shareholding by state government, central government, etc. And then they ask whether the procedure for appointment of auditor is correct or not. So you should first decide whether the company is a government company or not. Then the answer is automatic. That is why you should know the definition of a government company, which is any company in which not less than 51% of the paid up capital is held by central government, any state government or governments, partly by central government and partly by one or more state governments. So 51%, not less than 51. Even 50 is not possible. It should be 51 and above. 51 and above. So you should calculate the shareholding of central government, sirf central government or sirf state government, only state government, or maybe one or more than one state government, or partly by central government, partly by one or more state governments. So this is, if these entities are holding either singly or in any combination, not less than 51% government company. That's all. One more point, very important. We look at that. Subsidiary of a government company is a government company. So even though, okay, it may not be but then if it's a subsidiary, then automatically a government company is holding more than 51% in this company. Central government is not holding, state government is not holding directly, but government company is holding. Another government company is the holding company. Then the subsidiary of a government company is a government company. See, for government company, auditor appointment is separate. Similarly, the presentation of the accounts, etc., also slightly different. You will study that when you come to final. In the final syllabus, under the head miscellaneous topics, you will talk about government companies. But Abhito, what you need to understand now is the definition of a government company. Okay? Yeah. Oh, you already studied this. Good. 2 subsection 45 government companies. Very good. Excellent. Beautiful. I'm so happy that you are aware of the definition. It is there in your syllabus. But provisions relating to government companies are contained elsewhere. And you will study it when you come to final. Right? Good. So I'm happy that you are all familiar with the definition. Still, I thought I could go through it once to reinforce the concept. Right? Appointment of first auditor procedure is very simple. If it's a government company, then 139 subsection 7 will apply. The first auditor of a government company should be appointed by the CAG. Who is the CAG? We already saw him. When we saw NFRA, we saw this gentleman. Controller and Auditor General of India. So, auditor of government company, of course, the auditor of a government company is not C&AG. It is member of the institute, you and me, or a firm, which will be empaneled with the C&AG. Many of our firms are empaneled with the Controller and Auditor General. So whenever they want an auditor, they will choose from the panel. And then they will decide which firm to give the audit and they will appoint. So the government company's auditor should be appointed by the C&AG within 60 days of the date of registration. So, new government company is formed, then within 60 days, the C&AG should appoint the board of directors will inform the C&AG, or rather the ministry will inform. See, usually the new company, a government company will be formed by a ministry only, or one or more ministries for some particular purpose. Then those ministries, their representative only will be in the board. Yeah. The undersecretary or the IRS, the guy, IAS officer will be the managing director. So, through proper channel, it will go to C&AG. We have incorporated this company. Then within 60 days of date of registration, C&AG should appoint. In case the C&AG does not appoint, 60 days ka baad, after 60 days, the board of directors shall appoint within the next 30 days. So, if the board of directors also does not appoint, then members should appoint within 60 days from that day at EGM. So, 60 plus 30, 90, 90 plus 60, 150 days. Within that time, you have to appoint the first auditor of a government company. This first auditor will hold office until conclusion of the first AGM. The first auditor will not be appointed for 5 years. Please note it. He will be appointed only for 1 year. The first auditor appointed by the board will be appointed only, or the CAG or board or member of a government company will hold office only until the conclusion of the first AGM. See, now I will tell you one important concept. The post of an auditor can never become vacant. I repeat, the post of an auditor can never become vacant. That is why the auditor will hold office until the conclusion of the AGM, whereas the director will hold office till the AGM. Later on, when you come to final, you will understand this better. When the AGM starts, Directors who are liable to retire by rotation will automatically retire. Those of them who are liable will automatically retire. Right? The minute the gavel is struck, meeting starts. Chairman strikes the gavel. The hammer starts the meeting. Immediately directors will vacate, retire. Whereas auditor will not. Auditor will continue throughout that meeting till either he is reappointed or his successor is appointed. Got it? At that point in time, he will hand over the baton and go. Till such time, it's like a relay race where 400 meters relay. I don't know if you've run it. Okay, I ran it only once in my life because there was nobody else. Substitute was needed, so they pushed me in and they said, "Srikanth, somehow you managed to run the first lap and then come and give the baton. Then we will manage on our own." They did it. Okay, and I did my best, but then there's a limit to how much a stout boy with specs can run. But I did it because there was nobody else. And in my school, they wanted me to take part track event and field event and track events. I was just there, casually sitting. But then suddenly they said, "Remove your thing, wear your shorts, come fast, wear your shoes." What to do? A PT master was shouting, said, "What to do? You are not at all fit, but I have no other option. You have to go and run." So the baton race is run like this, where the runner runs with the baton in the hand, a stick, okay, a rod. And then he keeps running. Once his lap is completed, he will not let go of the baton. He will come, the other man will be waiting with the right hand kept back, ready to take the baton. When this man comes near, the baton will go. The first lap fellow will let go of the baton. The second guy will take it, start running immediately. Are you able to understand? Immediately he'll start running. There will be no gap. So auditors are like that. We are baton race runners. So the minute either I will run myself, I may be reappointed, or somebody else may be appointed, then I will hand over, and from that AGM conclusion onwards, he will be there. Never the post of auditor will be vacant. That is why auditor will hold office until conclusion of the first AGM. Very important wording. Please do not fail to use it in the exam. Somebody was asking me whether we should use the words used in the section. Not mug up and vomit, not verbatim, but certain words are very important legally. So you have to use those words only. Don't use your own words unnecessarily, where better words are there given by the law. So auditor to hold office, the first auditor appointed by the CAG or the board or member, as the case may be, of a government company will hold office until the conclusion of the first AGM. Now, other than government company, that is normal company, 139(6), the board of directors will appoint within 30 days. Within 30 days, the board should appoint. So, I told you now, first director, first auditor of other than government company will be appointed by the board, not by the members. In case the board does not appoint within 30 days, the members have to appoint within 90 days at an AGM. The duty of the members to do it. The same, the such auditor who is the first auditor will hold office until conclusion of the first AGM. Right? You are asking final question. Can the same director? Yeah, they can be reappointed. Many times they will be reappointed. The same guys who retire only will be reappointed. Oh, most of the time. Almost all the time. 98% of the time. The same directors only will be reappointed. But they will retire. When the opening of the AGM, the directors retire. Auditor will hold office till the conclusion. Suppose by the end of the meeting, you have not appointed another auditor, or you have not resolved that this fellow should not be reappointed, then he will automatically continue. We will see that when we come to resignation. Okay. Silver Tongue Solutions Private Limited was incorporated on 7/4/2021. The board of directors of the company held a board meeting on 17/4/21, wherein they appointed Mrs. John Jacob and Associates as the first auditor of the company for a term of 5 years. State the validity. I will wait for your answer. It's a very nice multiple choice question. Be careful. This is not a government company. Silver Tongue Solutions Private Limited, not a government company. It was incorporated on 7/4. The board of directors of the company held a board meeting, appointed on 17/4, wherein they appointed John Jacob and Associates as the first auditor for a term of 5 years. State the validity. Is it? See, multiple choice very easy. No need for all elaborate blah blah blah. Just you have to say A, B, C, D. That's all. Mr. K, we have him after a long time. Prashant, right? If I remember right. Prashant ji. How many auditors? Sir, fake. Only one. But suppose the company is huge and it's like NTPC and all, then 3, 4 will be there. That depends on this. That is the central C&AG's call. Okay. A, D. So we have Jyoti saying invalid, Hitesh invalid. Pooja PS says valid. Pooja PS again says valid. Be careful. The catch is that, see, the beauty is you are immediately going by the fact that the board has appointed the first auditor within 30 days. Correct. But how many years? They don't have a business to appoint him for a term of 5 years. They can only appoint him for 1 year till the conclusion. So to hold, they should appoint him only to hold office till the conclusion of the first AGM. So Akash Neel as usual gives reasoning also. Sir, Akash ji, multiple choice question, no need. You should know how to hold a 2B pencil and shade. That's all. Or just write like, B, C. You should know alphabet up to B. That's all. How to write alphabet up to D. That's all you have to know. Okay. So, and Akash Neel gives the reasoning. Invalid, as first auditor can only hold office until the conclusion of first AGM. It's a small catch there. Be very, very careful. Which is why, concentrate. Institute questions are all having small, catches there. Never answer the question first reading itself. Which is why reading the question once or twice is important. Give yourself time to read the question. Okay. Managing Director of PQR Limited himself wants to appoint Sri Ganpati, a practicing chartered accountant, as first auditor. Is it correct? No. See, do you agree? Why? Who can appoint the first auditor? Only the board of directors. See, he may be the managing director of the company, but he cannot appoint the auditor. He has to call a board meeting, first board meeting, and at the first board meeting only, the board has to appoint the first auditor. Right? That is very, very important. A company includes the following shareholders also. See, this is a very typical problem where they give you shareholding of government and all. And then they say you have to say whether the appointment is correct. Bank of Baroda, a nationalized bank, means where the government is holding shares, more than 51%. That Bank of Baroda is holding 12% of the subscribed capital. National Insurance Company Limited, which is again a government company carrying on general insurance business, is holding 10% of the subscribed capital. Right? Maharashtra State Financial Corporation is holding 8%. Advise whether the government company appointment is applicable to it. See, none of these entities is central government or state government in that. None of these, they are government companies, no doubt. They are all government companies where central government is holding more than, or state government in the case of Maharashtra State Financial Corporation is holding more than 51% of the capital. No doubt. They are all government companies, but they are not central government or state government. So, only if central government or state government is holding more than 51%, or it should be a subsidiary of a government company. Here, none of them is holding more than 51. individually. Therefore, even if you total up all that, you get 12 plus 10, 22 plus 8, 30%. Okay, that is not important. Because even if they hold more than 51%, it doesn't matter. Because none of them is central government or state government. Or individually, one of them should hold more than 51. Then it will become subsidiary of government company. Then it will become here, that is also not there. Therefore, appointment of auditor will be done as if it is not a government company. The provisions related to appointment of auditor in the case of government company are not applicable to it. That's all. Answer is over. You don't have to write this. If you want, you can write the board of directors appoint within 30 days member. That's not needed. And the question is, because check out how many marks. Suppose they are giving you 3 marks or 2 marks. How much are you going to write for 3 marks? Maximum 7 lines, 8 lines. Conclusion correctly. Always write. I already gave you the format. If you remember it, represent the facts, write the law, apply the law to the facts, 1 line conclusion, answer to the question. So the conclusion will be the provisions relating to appointment of auditor in case of government company are NOT capital, not. Always put NOT in capital. Otherwise you'll forget. That is why my guru always put NOT in capital. Are NOT not applicable to this company. Of course, before that you will argue that none of these, Bank of Baroda, National Insurance, Maharashtra, is central government or state government. Though they are government companies, none of them is holding more than 51% individually. Therefore, the company under being considered is not a government company. Applying. Therefore, okay, if you can quote 2 subsection 45 defines government company as follows. Write it so that they know that you know the definition of a government company. Now we move on to appointment of subsequent auditor. Means other than first auditor. Subsequent. Now subsequent auditor, again you have to talk from government company perspective other than government company. Right? For a government company, subsequent auditor will be appointed by the Controller and Auditor General within 180 days of commencement of the financial year. So 1/4, whatever. 1st April. So within 180 days. 180 days means 6 months. So April, May, June, July, August, September. Before 30th September, CAG should appoint him. Then they have to do it because before that the AGM will come. At the AGM, this fellow has to be appointed. Okay. So that's why they are giving 180 days. See, ultimately it is central government, yeah. CAG and central government, they will decide, but they are given a time of 180 days to identify the auditor and appoint. CAG appoints the auditor, but the AGM of the company also will be there. At the AGM, this fellow will be appointed, but the appointment is done by the CAG. Selection is done by the CAG only, not the board. Board has no say here. Board of directors has no say because it's a government company. If the board of directors get to choose, then you know what could happen. They could select an auditor who is known to them. I don't know. So the auditor is appointed randomly out of a panel. So you never know who will become your auditor. So the MD, who is an IAS officer, will be always worried who will be the next auditor. Believe me, there are so many government companies where an ordinary chartered accountant like me will walk in as statutory auditor, partner of the auditing firm. The MD would be an IAS officer. When all his pomp and glory, he'll be sitting there. But I am the auditor. So please come, sir. I hope everything is going on well. Like that, they will be asking us. Of course. Okay. So this is another thing. You are a simple, humble chartered accountant will be respected. Not because he is wealthy, not because he is, but because he is knowledgeable. More than that, he brings independence. It is the independence which is respected by the society. I've seen it happen so many times where I will walk in to the cabin of an MD of a government company, all pomp and glory, he'll be sitting in his full power. But when I am there, sir, how are you? Auditor, everything is fine. Take care. I hope all things are fine. Like that, he will ask. Okay. Then he'll be worried. Any points are there? Anything you want to? Sir, everything is fine. We're going on. If any, we will come back to you. That's how he'll say. Why I'm telling, what a great power, no? But great power brings with it great responsibility. Never forget that. Okay. So within 180 days, the CAG has to appoint. Now, important. For a government company, It's an annual appointment. So the appointee will hold office until the conclusion of next AGM. Actually, it's not AGM, of next AGM. That is 1 year. He has to be reappointed again. New auditor will be appointed. Usually for 3 years, the same fellow will be continued. But every time the CAG has to appoint, every year within 180 days. Usually the same guy will be continued. The same firm will be continued for 3 years. No guarantee. They can change it. Okay. So hold office until conclusion of next AG. In the case of other than government company, 139(1), the mother section, original section, subsection starts. So the subsequent auditors are appointed by the members at the first AGM. Thereafter, every 6th AGM, every 5th AGM, they will reappoint. So first AGM, he will be appointed for 5 years. So the auditor will hold office from the conclusion of first AGM till conclusion of 6th AGM. So why 6th? Because 5 years. First year is over, boss. First year already over. That is the first auditor. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 years. First year already over. First AGM, at the first AGM, the first year's audit will be presented. Then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Then again, 6th AGM, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11th AGM, like that. So auditor is appointed for 5 years at a time. We'll see it later in more detail. It's a little complicated. We'll see it in detail. So auditor is appointed for 5 years at a time. Individual, 1 round of 5 years. Firm, another 5 years. They can be appointed for 10 years. But beyond that, for certain categories of companies, there is a cooling period. But other than those categories, you can keep on appointing. But appointment itself is for 5 years. Got it? When you are appointed for 5 years. So within that period, you have to resign only. They cannot remove, or else they have to remove you. So appointment is permanent for 5 years. That's one good advantage. Every year you don't have to worry. You are appointed for 5 years. Unless they remove you for fraud or they remove you for incompetence. But for that, you are there for 5 years. Before that, they can't remove you. They can only request you. Please give your resignation. We want to appoint so and so. That is always there. Sometimes it happens. We ourselves say, take it and go. Let him take it. We ourselves say, no problem. See, one company moved to Bombay. Then they wanted to have Bombay audit. Chalo, please. When they were in Chennai, I audited. When they went to Bombay, we did it online for 2 years. They were very happy. 2 years we did online during pandemic and all. But then post-pandemic, once world started moving around, they said, we'll go to Bombay. Please. Resignation. Because my 5 years was not over. 5 years getting over only at the coming AGM. So they wanted to appoint for this year. Chalo, take it, enjoy. I will give my 22 March itself. I'll give my resignation. We'll see what happens when your resignation is given. Okay. Now, here is the last question. With this, we will conclude today's class. 1/4 of the subscribed capital of AMC Limited was held by the government of Rajasthan. Government of Rajasthan. 1/4. Mr. Neeraj, a chartered accountant, was appointed as an auditor of the company at the AGM held on 30th April by an ordinary resolution. Ordinary resolution is enough. No need special resolution. We'll see it later. Only when you're removing and reappointing. Otherwise, no. Ordinary is enough. Ordinary resolution. Ordinary resolution. Ordinary business. Okay? Because at the AGM, you're appointing an auditor at an AGM, ordinary business. Or reappointing the auditor, ordinary business. Ordinary resolution. Okay? Mr. Sanjay, a shareholder of the company, objects to the manner of appointment of Neeraj on the ground of violation. Is there any violation? There could be two possibilities. One is AMC Limited a government company? No, because 1/4 means only 25%. So 25% is only held by the government of Rajasthan. Therefore, the government of Rajasthan, therefore it is not a government company. So appointment can be done at the AGM by members. And it is enough if they pass an ordinary resolution. See, yeah, Vimal Kumar, I'm not able to get your query. Not go to, what is that? You type it out again. Some problem in the connectivity. The words got cut. Vimal Kumar Sorolia. Please retype your question. Question not come fully. The auditor may be reappointed after 5 years or new. That's what I was saying. Later on, I will elaborate this further. If it is an individual, after 5 years, you have to get a new auditor. If it is a firm, you can appoint the firm for another 5 years, but after the 10th year, you have to appoint some other firm. There's a cooling period. The same firm cannot be appointed for 5 years. Okay, same individual cannot be appointed for 5 years once he is vacating. So, individual 5 years, firm 5 plus 5, 10. At the end of 5 or 10, as the case may be, cooling period of 5 years, same firm cannot be reappointed. Got it? Correct. Now, suppose you are informed that central government also holds 1/3. Also holds. That's why I put also in red. Central government also holds. That is, the government of Rajasthan is holding 1/4. Central government holds 1/3. Now, what is your answer? This is slightly hard. Second question. The question has two parts. First part, your answer is absolutely correct. AMC is not a government company. Therefore, the procedure for other than government company has been correctly followed. He has been appointed by the members at an AGM by passing an on resolution. No need for special resolution. Make that point. Case 2. Rajasthan government 25, central government 33, 1/3. Now it's more than 50. Absolutely correct. 58.44%. 58.33%. Okay. 58.33%, which is more than 51. Therefore, the objection of Sanjay is correct. It's a government company. C&AG has to appoint within 180 days. So that is the procedure. And he will hold office only for 1 year, not for 5 years. Ordinary resolution. Resolution is still only ordinary. Actually, C&AG is appointing in this case. Okay. Got it? Friends, I thank you for your patience and your support. Next session, we will continue with other provisions related to appointment of auditor. Aaj to, I request your indulgence to close the class now because I have to leave for another thing. We will make up that 15 minutes, we'll make it up in the future auditing classes. Extend it a little, maybe work out some problems and all that. Okay. Thank you. Have a great day. Wishing you all the best. Bye. Yes, sir. Thank you.